I get itchier scrolling through a ton of leg press options, and the idea of spending a few $100 on a piece of metal that might end up as a closet ornament is kind of scary. Yesterday a friend of mine was in the same spot, trying to decide if a dedicated leg and calf press was worth the space in his garage before he even lifted a single plate. He was worried about 3 things: will it actually help him hit his squat numbers, will it fit through his doorway, and is there a chance he'll spend a lot of money on a machine that feels clunky after the first week? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. That's why I dug into the Body Solid GLPB STK / 3-leg and calf press before hitting record. It's marketed as an all-in-one lower body workout machine with an oversized footplate and a 310-pound weight stack, and the brand touts it as an industry leader that lets you achieve perfect form and precision. Those sound good on paper, but what really matters is how the thing behaves when you actually step onto it after a day's work. First off, the footprint. The machine measures roughly a little over 4 feet wide and 2.5 feet deep, and it's built to sit directly on a solid floor. If you have a dedicated home gym corner, a garage slab, or even a reinforced basement concrete floor, the size isn't a deal breaker. The real snag shows up if you're dealing with a wooden floor or a space that doubles as a family room. The steel base is heavy enough that you'll need a few friends to maneuver it into place, and once it's set, you'll want a mat underneath to protect the floor from the steel feet and any dropped plates. I've seen people in smaller apartments end up using the machine as a decorative piece rather than a functional one, simply because the space constraints outweigh the benefit. Assembly is another practical hurdle. The box includes a detailed instruction manual, a set of Allen keys, and a bunch of bolts that you'll need to tighten in a specific sequence. If you're comfortable with basic DIY projects, you can probably get it together in about an hour, but don't expect a plug-and-play experience. The biggest pain point for many first-time owners is the seat adjustment mechanism. It slides forward and back on a rail, but the range is a little limited for taller users. Someone over 6 feet 4 inches might feel cramped, especially when they try to get a full stretch on the calf raise portion. That's not a defect, just something to keep in mind if you're on the taller side. Now, let's talk about day-to-day use. The Oversize footplate is genuinely generous. It's wide enough that you can place both feet shoulder-width apart and still have a little wiggle room for your toes. That extra surface area translates into a more stable stance, which is especially helpful when you're loading the stack up to 250 or 300 pounds. The movement itself feels smooth, thanks to the steel cables and the sealed weight stack. There's no grinding, no jerky resistance spikes, just a linear pull that mimics the feel of a leg press at a commercial gym. If you're a beginner who's worried about keeping proper form, the guided track helps you stay in a vertical path, reducing the risk of your hips wandering forward. The calf raise attachment is a nice bonus. It folds out from the main frame, so you don't need a separate piece of equipment. In practice, you can finish a leg press set and immediately switch to calf raises without walking across the room. The only quirk is the footplate angle on the calf side. It's fixed, so you can't change the incline to target the soleus versus the gastrocnemius as precisely as you could on a dedicated calf machine. For most home users, that's a small compromise compared to the convenience of having both movements in one footprint. Where the machine starts to show its limits is in the weight stack. A 310-pound stack is plenty for someone who's just getting into resistance training or who uses the leg press as a supplementary exercise to barbell squats. However, if you're an advanced lifter who routinely presses 400 pounds or more, you'll hit the ceiling pretty quickly. The stack does have a selector pin for incremental jumps, but you'll be stuck at the top end, which can be frustrating if you're chasing strength milestones. The good news is that the machine's design allows you to attach external plates if you ever outgrow the internal stack, though that does require a bit of extra setup and isn't covered in the standard warranty. Speaking of warranties, Body Solid typically offers a 5-year frame warranty and a 1-year limited warranty on parts. That's a solid safety net compared to cheaper knockoffs that might leave you stranded with a squeaky bolt after a few months. The revolutionize your home gym claim feels a bit grandiose if you're only after a single leg press exercise, but the reality